Let me get a little closer so I can.
A little closer.
You can just a little closer.
Get a nice close up shot of you. We need to make sure you're nice and centered.
Hey now, cats! We're back again this week on Movie Snobs with my yours truly, Balls from Elwood, and my ride or die, my homie, my brother from another mother, my main man, motherfucker, Matt Wheels and Nesty.
Yeah, I know you. I know you had so many more adjectives you wanted to come up with. You
I
right.
could do a whole show of adjectives of just introducing you. That's how much I love you, my man. So we actually have to get to some serious business because if this is your first time you've watched us assholes, or maybe the 11th, I think at this time, maybe
Or somewhere around there. We're in
yeah,
double
somewhere
digits.
around there. The premise of this show is I like shitty B movies, horror movies, slasher movies. My man here likes some pretty well cultured films, and we are good friends, and we decided to share things with each other, things that I would probably never watch had it not been for my good friend, and vice versa. And then we talk about them. So this week, I'm going to start. Mr. Wheels gave me a little movie called My Brother's Wedding from 1983.
Yeah.
I can't remember who directed it. Who directed it,
It
Wheels?
was a Charles Burnett movie. It was a
Charles
Charles Burnett movie.
Burnett.
Yeah.
Will you? I'm going to dig right into it.
Okay, well, we're gonna start with this. So, because even the one, so Balls gave me the coffee table as well, and I feel like for both of these movies, big spoiler alerts coming. Big spoiler alerts. It's going to be very hard to talk about these movies without spoiling them. So fair warning: this you will not come into many content creators who are going to go if you don't want spoiler warnings. Stop the video right now. Go
Yes,
watch the
yes.
movies and
Go
then come
watch
back to
something
it.
else. Go watch
Um,
CSI
if you
Miami.
yeah, if you don't mind spoilers and you'll still go watch the movie, stick around. Okay,
It's
Paul.
funny. I never even thought about that, but it would be virtually impossible to do both of
Yeah,
these movies
these
right now.
ones we can't beat around the bush with these movies.
So I'm going to get right into it, man. Normally there's a lot of times where you will actually recommend things to me, and I actually after the credits roll, I'm like, wow, I really can't believe I like this as much as I did, and I felt that way about this movie till about the halfway point. And then it kind of lost me. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I super was really into it the first half. I thought it was kind of like it was kind of fun, and I mean, it was a nice portrayal of like that time period. But I mean, I don't know what I think the reason why I think it lost me was like it almost felt like halfway through it became a completely different movie, and
Yeah.
like I was kind of like enjoying the first half of
It
what it
did.
was, and then it just completely
Yeah.
spun into another movie. Oh,
It got real depressing there, didn't it? Did it get
yeah, it
real?
went from
Did
like
it get
fun and
real sad?
lighthearted. It was like here's the dick, it's all fun and lighthearted, and then halfway through, that's
And
exactly.
then
And
I
then
and
we
then
actually have a guest this week because guess who else watched my brother's wedding with me?
oh, that's Tina.
Hey, lucky me. No, it was really like entertaining. I mean, was it great acting? Hell no. But
Well,
was it
it's
entertaining?
1983.
Hell yeah. But it was good. I mean, it was good up to a point. I'm like, man, this is really like reeling me in far more than I ever expected. I figured I'd give it a few minutes and I'd end up walking away or just sitting here playing on my phone. But I was into it. I really was.
I was too. Like
Until it like kind of lost
yeah,
me.
once it took it to Depressingville, like it kind of just turned me off, real honestly. I
Which
mean,
And
that's about
they
my
never
favorite part
explained.
of that movie.
really?
Yeah, it is purposely depressing, and that's sort of like
Oh, it's supposed to be depressing?
it is very much supposed. It is one of those themes that Charles Burnett constantly plays around with, and it's actually why I gave My Brother's Wedding as opposed to his follow-up movie to Sleep with Anger, because I
Oh,
feel that
dude, I
my
think I might have seen the Sleep with Anger. Is
so
that
to
from
think
the
with it
80s too?
with Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Danny Glover played, yeah. So that's also Charlie.
Oh, I didn't know that was him. I liked that. I like that film. Hmm.
So okay, so maybe now you can kind of see how there's very similar themes sort of going on to this, but My Brother's Wedding was so unbelievably more depressing
Yeah.
and didn't end on like
But that's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, what is your interpretation of the ending? Hmm.
that the main character although missing, missing his brother's wedding, the main character has almost by fate been freed from this toxic person that was essentially destroying his life, because
The guy
that's,
who died.
yeah, the guy who died,
Okay.
the friend who died, who is essentially sort of this toxic burden that is just absolutely dragging this kid down. And he's sort of being dragged down out of like this weird and balls. This is actually kind of why I gave it to you, because it hits me in unbelievably personal ways. Of here's a person with a relationship with a friend who he feels loyal to for reasons that he can never explain,
Oh,
and
I
is
didn't get that correlation. Now I know exactly who you're talking
and
about.
he's constantly
Uh-huh.
suffering the consequences because he's completely incapable of walking away from this
Mhm.
toxic piece of trash, because this is, it's some obscured sense of childhood loyalty. I was going to ask you, one of the saddest and most uncomfortable scenes in that movie was like, the friend comes back into his life, main characters, working at the dry cleaners, and then the friend comes in with that lady.
Oh yeah.
And he's banging her out in the back while
And his mom comes back to get the prayer book. She's
yeah, and
involved.
he's just like has to try and fucking deal with this. And you almost like feel bad for this kid, but then you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Get this piece of trash out of your life. And I like, there's something about the scene when he's finally with his grandparents and they're reading that prayer about sort of, the shit in your life going away, and sort of that. That to me is just one of the coolest. Like I love that scene. But then obviously it's like you guys said, and what brought you guys down was like it's a little cynical and very depressing, and like the main character misses out on everything.
Well, yeah,
The
so that was
friend
going to be my
dies.
next question. So clearly, I mean, here he is. He's supposed to be in the brother's wedding, but he's also supposed to be at the best friend's funeral, and he's like, having the struggle, like, where do I go? Who am I? Who am I here? Who's my ride or die? Like, who am I here for? And then he ultimately makes the decision to go to the friend, and misses the funeral, and then he
Yeah,
ultimately
friend dies, and
misses the
everyone's
wedding.
dead, and then he misses
So
the
it's
brother's
kind of like
wedding.
a story about him making bad decisions and missing out on things, essentially, right?
In a way, yeah. I mean, in a way, very much it is. It's that I don't know. I guess I see it not even just as making bad decisions, but this one bad decision then begins to compound on another.
There you go.
And that's sort of like the main thing. That's something that, okay, so Balls, you saw To Sleep with Anger, so we can kind of even talk about this too. Like the theme throughout that is sort of this, the past catching up to you, these bad figures that you have in the past
Yeah.
coming back and then having to atone for it, and then what it does
It's
in
funny
your
now that
life.
I didn't realize that was that same director. And now that I think about that, I see the correlation between that movie and this movie. I mean, I guess, is this a popular theme? Does he do that a lot in a lot of his films?
So what's funny, what's sad, one of the sadder things about Charles Burnett's filmography is he really only made a few movies.
Okay.
He's a director who um, I honestly had such a conflict on which movie I was going to give you. It was either going to be Killer as Sheep or this one, which I wound up giving you. I'm glad I didn't even think about To Sleep with Anger because you've already seen it. But like,
I did not like it enough to not see his other movies, though. I would watch another movie of his.
so I would definitely recommend. So if you like this or felt attracted to it, even if it made you really sad, Killer Sheep may not make you any happier, because it's about, so Killer Sheep. This, and these are themes that Charles Burnett plays around with. Is sort of like, what do you do in sort of these hopeless situations where nothing is just going right, things aren't worse. So like Killer Sheep is, how does a person live a virtuous life in an environment where there's zero opportunity? So it's 1960s LA, 1960s Watts. The race riots happened about a year or so later. And he's essentially telling these stories of like, how can you do the right thing in environments where you have to just survive? And then what will you do? What are you supposed to do? So like he's always playing around with those kind of themes, but he just really has only made a few movies, which is really, really sad.
Yeah.
I would watch that one. That sounds appealing to me. I mean,
So all in all, the takeaway from My Brother's Wedding, little halfer.
I'd say the good outweighs the bad, but like
Yeah.
I mean, I just it didn't blow my skirt up like it normally does. Normally, I'm pretty surprised by the stuff you recommend me, and I'm like, God damn, like I can't believe
that you
we
actually enjoyed
yeah,
that.
well, that not only that, had I ever not like we never did this experiment or this show. I can't believe I would have never probably went my whole life and not seen this movie. Like
Yeah.
so like that's usually the takeaway. But like I mean,
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer because we were really into it.
I
you
almost
know?
feel like if I was
Yeah.
kinda more prepared that it was gonna take that parallel, I probably would have maybe liked it more, but,
Right.
like, yeah, it's very weird, like, it's weird to me whenever you, like, the tone of the movie completely shifts, like, for the last half of the movie, and it was polar opposite, like, it's
Have
kinda
you ever
lighthearted and kinda goofy and funny, and then, well, like, the halfway marker, then it's like, "Here you go, here's Depressingville," like,
have you
here's
seen Life is
fucking
Beautiful with Roberto Benigni?
Oh gosh, it's a wonderful movie.
Life is
Life
beautiful.
is Beautiful. Years ago, it's an Italian
Well, I
film.
was gonna say we're talk about. I was gonna say it wasn't quite like I don't know if it was quite like that where it goes from a lighthearted Italian comedy to a Holocaust movie.
Yeah, yeah.
At the snap of a finger.
Oh, I
But yeah,
love
sometimes
that.
those are good movies to watch where you just
Surprised you had to have seen it years ago. No, maybe you might remember it. Let's watch it again. I'd like to revisit that.
I don't know.
But it was really good.
It's the feel good Holocaust movie of the
Right? Yeah,
year.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I hate honestly
I
it
mean,
kind of
honestly, yeah.
in
Right.
a way it's
That's
sort
not
of
the boy in the striped pajamas in it.
Yeah.
uh,
But
okay, so tonal changes aren't your thing. I get okay, so Jacques Toddy and tonal changes, not Balls' thing.
yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't hate it. Like,
Yeah. Okay, but are we going to talk about his movie
yeah,
soon?
yeah.
So I want to say before we forget,
There is. She actually thought of
I
a
picked
good.
up an
There is a
interesting
very,
correlation between this film
which I didn't even catch.
and the film we recommended to
I
you.
want to see if Wheels picked up on that.
And I don't. Yeah, I want you to see if you know what it is. But I'm watching what is it?
My
My
Brother's
brother's wedding, and there was a theme throughout that I was like, we just watched a movie that the same sort of thing kept happening, and it's like a modern day today movie, and it's like goes to show you like things don't change that much in 30, 40
Which is
years.
weird because coincidentally, it's the double feature we did this
Right.
week on the show. So, like,
So
yeah,
see if you when you're talking about it.
I think was it compounding problems?
No,
Was it
it's
sort of
not a
snap
problem. I mean, I
tragedy?
guess it would be a problem if it were acted upon. Uh,
Sort of people lying. Okay, so we could talk about it because the movie that you gave, the movies that Balls recommended to me, was the Spanish dark fucking comedy. The darkest fucking comedy I've ever watched in my entire life. The Coffee Table.
how was that?
Which I think I would describe it as I would assume that's what a late stage abortion looks like. I assume that's with how they talk about it on the
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's a real late one.
Well, my reaction to that movie is simply holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I don't even understand. So okay, so like so this is just such I'm watching this movie and what's interesting is all the crazy shit happens within the first act, which is unfucking believable. But like I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, this is really funny. The scene with the salesman is really funny. This relationship between the husband and the wife is alarming and they don't seem to have a great relationship, but it's a comedy they're going around and I'm watching, I'm like, I felt just this like crazy tension within the first 15 minutes. And I'm watching this, I'm like, I don't know why I feel so much tension. I feel tension. I feel like something's about to happen, but like there is nothing going on in these scenes that is giving any foreshadowing to what comes next. And then they do that shot down the fucking hallway with the husband holding the baby's crying. and just magical fuck. I'm watching this. I'm like, this is really good camera work. Just this nice, beautiful zoom. And then all of a sudden, a baby's fucking head comes flying off and falls, and then there's just a dead baby. Now all of a sudden we're 15 minutes of the movie, and there's just a headless fucking baby. This guy killed this kid by accident, which I don't like. Here's the thing that I'm taking away, like, there's a part of me that thinks he did it on purpose. Like there is no way that was an accident. Like, did he trip? Did he fall? Like, I
thought about that too, actually. Yeah.
Like, I'm watching this, and there's a part of me that really wonders, like, is this one of those stories where it's supposed to be purposely ambiguous that the father sort of had this, like, that intrusive thought snuck in, and he fucking slammed his kid through the coffee table? Because
they don't really show it.
No, they don't show it at all. They don't. They do not show it one bit. It's all implied, and then when they show the after effects, like the aftermath, I'm like looking at this. I'm like, I don't know how this happens by accident.
Yeah.
Like, did he trip? Did he try and
blame it on that missing screw? And he didn't put the base together right, which, as ridiculous as it sounds, I've worked in the furniture industry for 22 years. You would think that something like that could not happen. I've seen something like that happen a couple times over the years.
A couple babies' heads flew off in
your day. Not the babies' heads.
Yeah, a couple babies' heads flew off and went under the ottoman, only for the fucking dog to find it at the end like it was a chew toy. Yeah. Jesus Christ, that was the grossest thing I've ever seen. That whole movie was just one giant fucking chaos factor.
So once you said tension, from that moment on, there's no not tension.
Oh, there's more tension. There's even more tension.
You're like, so the whole thing, you're like on the edge of your seat with anxiety.
Here's what I will say. My only gripe with the movie is I feel like it could have been a little bit shorter, because there's a part of me where I'm watching, I just kept thinking to myself, how the fuck isn't the mother like going into the room and seeing the baby? Maybe it's because I grew up in a family where we had no boundaries. And it's like, you come in screaming, the baby way. And this thing is like, they're partying and popping bottles, and no one wondered, hey, why isn't the baby waking up? Like, how is it, we're making noise?
As a mother myself, there's no way in hell I would have not gone in and looked at that baby. There's just no way it would have not happened. So that was we had to suspend some disbelief there for sure. Because, I don't see that happening.
Although I think the only person that actually gave a shit about that kid in the entire film was the mother.
Nobody, like, even the brother, when the brother finally finds out, the brother's sitting there and the mom comes to the door and he's like, nothing, we'll be right back. We're going to bring the baby out in a couple of minutes. Like, even the brother then turns into like trying to hide it from the mother. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I think the slow build ratcheted tension though, like in the last act, whenever you're waiting, at some point she's gonna find out, but they drag that shit so long, and it ratchets the tension so tight that, like, I was like exhausted. I'm like, I just want her to find out. I don't know how much more of this I can fucking take.
We need closure. And then the little girl's coming over, the little girl's knocking on the
door. There it is.
I'm gonna tell you something.
So think about it. What happened in my brother's wedding?
Oh, there was underage shit. There was some goofy ass underage shit going on.
Yeah, 2 underage chicks trying to flirt with older men.
Yeah. And this was fun, and this was done in such a goofy way. Like, I still think about, because I thought it was really funny when she said it, but then as you realize she's talking about the husband, and then obviously as you learn about the husband, like, he just killed the baby and is such a coward, can't tell anyone, isn't going to tell anyone, doesn't even have the decency to fucking kill himself. Like, it's like, here's another side thing. This is why we think that gets this fucking episode kicked off YouTube. I have never been rooting for someone to kill himself more in a movie in my entire life. Like, I'm watching this, just going, jump off the fucking ledge, buddy. What are you waiting for?
Unalive himself, Wheels.
Just unalive yourself real fucking hard.
Oh, fuck all that bullshit.
Well,
Yes,
it
I
might get
want.
you kicked off again.
So, but I thought it was really funny because like that girl has like a line right in the beginning where she's like, he's not my boyfriend. He likes me, but he's too much of a coward to ever admit it. And it's like that sets up the rest of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Right?
I'm really glad you went into this movie like with no preconceived notions or knowing anything about it hardly at all.
Well, neither did we. Well, I didn't anyway.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
All I
so
heard was everybody was raving about it and
Yeah.
raving
Oh,
about
this
it.
is the kind of movie where I don't, and it's why we did our spoiler alert at the beginning. Is this is a movie that would lose all, and that's actually something that might even work into how I do judge this movie though, like as a whole. Is I don't know if it's one like does it lose its impact once you know what the twist is?
if you know going in what's
Yeah,
going to
if you
happen.
know going in what's going
So
on,
now
or
that
you
we've ruined it for
know,
everybody.
That's a
or
good
you've
question.
seen it, does it lose its impact?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, if any of our viewers here go ahead and watch it, come and tell us
And
if
we screwed it up
you.
for you. Let us know,
Yeah.
you know.
Because it was I mean it was a lot, it was terrifying. I just kept thinking to myself, what the fuck, what the fuck and why were mostly things that I said a lot while watching the movie, which is mostly a good thing, honestly. That's definitely a good thing to do while watching a movie, is you just
True.
go, what's
I mean-
happening, why.
I
I
mean,
don't
and the way she
understand.
found out, like it was worth the whole suspense.
The way that she found out is like the worst way that she could have found out.
Right?
Like it just is. It the only thing that I wish somehow the salesman would have came back. Like, I think only that might have been able to twist the knife a little bit harder to where like now the salesman comes back, and like it just because there was so much fucking chaos going on. And then just when the dog, like, so as soon as the little girl comes in with the dog and sets the dog down, the dog's just walking around. I'm sitting there in my room in here, and I'm just going, oh no. Oh no. Oh no, it's not gonna happen this way, is it? And yep, the dog pulls out a decapitated baby head.
And then it had little blood on its little white face.
Oh, it was perfect. Oh my god,
so good.
I don't know. I definitely enjoyed it.
Right, but
I enjoyed
you
the
feel
movie
funny
as
for
much as
enjoying
I
it,
did.
right?
I definitely think it could have been a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it was, Jesus Christ, it was,
Right, that's the review. Jesus
yeah, it
Christ.
was alarming. That was an alarming movie.
And you know what makes it alarming too, I think? The fact that it's so beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the camera work in that movie was unbelievable, and very like the style to it was really 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 unique, and the way that it showed characters disconnecting from reality, or sort of reality sort of becoming, because obviously as you're sitting there you're thinking to yourself, you know, what would I do if I accidentally decapitated my 3-month-old?
Right.
You know, how would I, you know, it got you to look in the mirror and say, you know, what would I do if I accidentally dropped my child and killed them?
Yeah.
And I think through some of the shots and some of the style, it sort of captured this anxiety and this fear and sort of claustrophobic feeling, of like doing this heinous thing and then having this heinous secret that you're just trying to hold from the entire world, because
Right.
like it seemed like every time the camera was then put on the husband, the frame just seemed to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Like everything just seemed to be getting fucking more closed in, which then also makes you, the viewer, feel, you know, like dying as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt guilty. I felt like I killed a baby.
Right. 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 Like we were keeping a secret for him, you know?
Yeah, well, it's like I feel like I was on his side. I'm like, ah, he wants the fucking if he wants the table, get the table. Who gives a shit? You know, what are we fighting about here? Just get the fucking table. It's got
I thought Xtina brought up a good point when we were watching the night we were watching this. She had said she listens to all these true crime things, And then like I always think it's ridiculous whenever like people do atrocious things and then they like react in a certain way where like they're not even upset or like they don't do anything or they're just kind of
But that's
like
what you have to do if you want to get away with it.
but
You
then
have to
whenever I
act
watch
like,
this movie, I'm like, I could sort of rationalize now, like somebody that would be like, I'm so blown out and like so
Yeah.
you know, that's why it
they're
is hard
like
to tell a
they're
lot of
like
times
I can now
if people
understand like how
truly did,
people
yeah,
where people could just
if they're really
freeze and
guilty of
just
something or if they're overacting. Because like my favorite thing in true crime too is if you listen to 911 calls, and a lot of times like it's such a put on. Oh my God, my husband's laying here dead, you know, and it's like, and you're, you know, or but then there's other times that they're like, yeah, hello, my wife is, I think she's dead. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Clearly that hysterical person is you know, in
Yeah.
shock, and then, but meanwhile they're the one that did it. The calm person is like truly in shock because it really happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just funny.
yeah, I thought that illustrated that pretty good because like I
Yeah.
can never wrap my head around that. Now I'm like, I guess if I accidentally decapitated a baby, I would be panicked and
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the better takeaways that I think you can get from cinema is when you leave a movie or you stop watching a movie and you ask yourself, what would I do if I decapitated a small child? How
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't leave the head under the table for days on end, that's for sure.
well, it was only a day. It barely was a
Okay,
day,
maybe it was only a
you
day.
know, but it's okay, so like I don't know if you've ever been like Easter egg hunting before, but
maybe perhaps.
sometimes you forget about that one egg. Okay.
Right.
It and it stays under the couch for a long time. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's not an egg, it's the head of your decapitated, 6-week-old, you know?
Dead baby humor all across the board.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I get it, these babies, they got weak necks, but Jesus.
Brother. Yeah, that's true. So all in all, you loved it and you want to watch it.
All in all, I give it
You're gonna suggest the criterion they need to bring out to
yeah,
the
all in all, I give this
coffee
5
table.
decapitated fetuses.
Oh
That's what I
wow,
give it.
that's a
Yeah.
pretty
I give this a 4.5 decapitated fetuses out of 5.
Now let me ask you this, and normally I've seen so much stuff and I feel so many, I feel so jaded to things that like I'm desensitized. This is one of the first movies in a long time where I actually thought about it for a couple days afterwards. Like it just kind of kept creeping back into my mind because it was kind of
Yeah.
really so disturbing. Like
Mhm.
nothing moves my needle too much, but for some reason that really kind of stuck with me for a few
Oh yeah.
days.
No, I can cooperate that because this is one of the first movies we've done where I've gone into the show with no notes because I just have it in my head of what the movie was and what happened, and visually some of those scenes, like I just okay, so the snap cut from fucking the wife finding out, and like you see her walking towards the balcony, you have that cut, and then that cut back and she's no longer standing there.
Yeah.
I That to me was like, that was such a ridiculous gut punch because then I'm thinking to myself, oh no, the wrong person killed themselves.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
what the
chilling.
fuck is going on here? It was like, she
Yeah.
should have been the first
It
one to
chilled my
die.
bones when I seen that. Like
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
just that cut you're talking about.
Yeah.
It gave me goose pimples.
It was horrifying, and then I felt, obviously you feel nothing when you find out the husband followed right along, and you're like, well, he's a fucking, he just follows the
He
lead.
should have.
Yeah, he could have did it way earlier. That
Right.
would have been the best way for the wife to find out. Come home, you got a dead husband. Oh my God, I'm so sad. Well, honey, we got a surprise for you. Don't be sad that your husband's dead. Here's a decapitated baby.
Right.
That'll make you get over him real
Your
quick.
bonus prize.
Now that all
Yeah.
three of us have seen this, I thought the only way this movie could probably be better is if it was a musical.
Oh no. No. Oh God.
I'm working on that
You're gonna work
right
on
away.
that?
Yeah.
You work on that.
Oh my God, that's they're gonna be swinging around, swinging around the body and shit, and swinging around fucking, a little top
Goodness.
hat. Jesus
The
fucking Christ.
table's complete. The table's complete. Smash. cheat.
I definitely think it could have been so much funnier if he was just sitting there, after slamming his child through a coffee table. He just sitting there, just, oh man, my coffee table. Shit.
Right. That would have been.
I think that could have been I think the movie could have had so many more laughs if they were trying.
Or if he was rifling through the book, and I wonder if this is covered under the warranty. Dead babies. No.
Yeah.
1 year warranty on decapitated dead
my God,
baby.
this salesman! But oh my God, I really wanted that salesman to come back because that dude was fucking hilarious. When
he was really
back up
funny.
at the apartment, to get him to sign the stuff, and he's just like, "I'm just looking for a friend. I just want a friend. Maybe we can hang out sometime. I'll bring you the fan and I'll talk to you and hang out." And it's like there's a fucking dead baby inside you.
That movie, I mean, we were talking about this too. Like, it had to have that comedic element to it.
Oh yeah, we were the night
like,
we were actually laying in bed talking about
dark.
this movie before we went to bed.
Yeah.
And I told her, I go, this movie had to have that comedy, because if it didn't have that little dark comedic elements here and there, it would be so dour and so dark and so depressing.
It'd just be unwatchable.
That you would just be like, oh, I'd be like Silkwood in the shower, scrub brushing myself, scrubbing the coffee table off of me.
It's such a silly punchline. It's like, oh, we got this table. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
I know, when you first hear the title of this, you're like, how bad could this be?
Yeah, like, are they going to be like horse over this?
Cheesy, like demonic coffee table would actually be in a very.
Honestly, that's where I thought it was going. I thought Balls recommended me some fucking goofy totem movie where a demon was going to pop out and like destroy their life.
That's the good thing you don't know about me, because that can very well still happen.
Yeah, I'm so ready for this cheesy ass fucking B movie nonsense, and I get hit with a decapitated baby.
A quality decapitated baby film.
Which makes
I will say this. The production value for that dead baby was wild. That was a good, whoever the production designer and whoever did the props for that dead baby, really.
Keep that grapefruit under that.
Yeah, and they didn't just get the grapefruit and dip it in fake blood. No, they actually really made a real baby's head.
Yeah, no, that was a really good. I'm very proud of that production team and how well of a dead baby they made.
I wonder if we'll put a little plug for the production team at the bottom. If your next feature needs a decapitated baby, just call these people right here. Call these folks.
I like
dead baby.
Yeah. So we had another good double feature. We had a nice depressing double feature as always.
Yeah, really.
Where you'll watch both of these movies together and come away questioning your entire existence and all the people that you have in your life.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
Yes, this would be a perfect double feature for that. You might want to have, some
you've been having trouble with relationships in your life, maybe toxic friends, people from your childhood, maybe your relationship with the girlfriend or the wife isn't going too well. Maybe you just had a baby, or you're, trying to get married one of these days.
Maybe you have that pesky alive baby. This will teach you how to figure out all these problems.
That makes the funniest Billy Mays commercial. Like, are your babies too alive? Well, we got a coffee table for you.
Reach for baby, be gone.
Oh, Lord in heaven.
Here at Movie Snobs, just a quick disclaimer, here at Movie Snobs, we do not condone the decapitation of babies.
We don't? Oh, I mean, yeah, we don't. Yeah, that would be horrible. Only in film.
That's a perfect note to end on, Balls. I think that's
I think so too.
I think that's exactly what our audience expects of us.
Well, I think we totally we knocked it out the park here, man. We knocked the dead baby's head right out of the gate.
Oh my God! Right over
the fence.
I'll tell you, the last thing I'll say about that movie.
Right under that accent chair.
That baby head, it rolled. That was a rolling baby head. I did not think that a baby head could roll that far. There was some power. Again, back to my point. I think he killed his baby. I don't think that was an accident.
I never thought a baby head would have so much momentum. You're right.
No, it kept rolling.
It kept rolling, and much like us, we're rolling and we're out of time. So
absolutely.
I tell you what, it's been great as always. thank you, my ride or die, my sir. I love you. I love you. You know, I love you, Mr.
Me too. I
Wheels.
love you guys. I
Uh,
love talking about movies and
Xtina,
baby.
hey, we had a nice surprise little guest this evening.
Surprise! Anywho, we have a funny picture to send to you. There's a vehicle out in the world that's meant for you.
Yes,
We have to send it to you.
there's no dead babies, I swear.
No, we promise.
Okay,
But
that's all I care about. As long as there's no dead babies in the backseat, I'm happy to start with.
No babies were harmed in the making of this episode of Movie Snobs.
Not
Oh,
at all.
Jesus Christ.
But
On that note,
on that note, we love you, dude. Peace and love. We will see you next time at Movie Snobs, and we'll have probably just another as equal, if not more crazy, double feature we'll talk about. And make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. Yeah, smash that shit. Tell your family, your friends, your smelly Aunt Gertrude. Tell everybody. Yeah. Peace and love, sir. We'll see you next time.
Later.
later.